amendments clarifying some of the things that I've heard rumbling. One is we have an amendment that will, in fact, take away unemployment insurance for millionaires. 2,840 households who reported an income greater than $1 million or more on their tax returns were paid a total of $18.6 million in unemployment insurance benefits in 2008. That number is higher in 2009. We don't have the final numbers yet. This included over 800 earning over $2 million and 17 with excess income of $10 million collecting unemployment benefits. We have an amendment that will prohibit that. There's been some concern to say that the cost associated with that, the way it was scored by CBO, would neutralize the savings versus the cost to eliminate that would be even. And even if that's true, which we've done a calculation, we think it costs about $900,000 a year to have people who are applying for unemployment insurance to sign a statement that their income is not above $1 million. But even if it costs the same as what we're spending, we shouldn't be giving unemployment benefits to people who are earning $1 million a year. It's foolish. And it exacerbates the tendency of enriching those that are already there versus what unemployment insurance was for, is those who are truly dependent on it to survive. So I wanted to clarify that point. The Second Amendment, in March, the GAO, in response to an amendment that I put on the last debt limit, issued a report listing what they think are billions of dollars of savings in terms of duplication. And I'd be remiss to say that our president, he embraced that. In his State of the Union speech, one of the goals of his administration is to eliminate duplication and consolidate. So we have two amendments that are going to be floor. One's mine and one is from the chairman of the Appropriation Committee, Senator Inouye, that are designed to save us $5 billion. But there's two big differences between those amendments. My amendment says, OMB, you've got the study. Find the $5 billion, report to us what you can do by yourself and what you need us to do to help you. His amendment waits 6 months from the time we pass the bill, 5 months to study to come back, and then for us to do it, which means we won't have any savings at all until we're well into the fiscal year 2013. And every year we waste $5 billion on something we shouldn't waste is a year that we're borrowing $2 billion of it just to pay the bill. So I understand it's a cover vote. What it means is we'll never get the $5 billion in savings, whereas my amendment will get us $5 billion worth of savings this year. The way we get rid of a $1.6 trillion deficit is $1 billion or $2 billion or $5 billion at a time. Everybody recognizes the duplication. What we're asking the administration to do is take the very low-hanging fruit that they can recognize right now, do the rescission, recommend to us, and then us act on them, rather than waiting 2.5 years to get that done. So it's very straightforward. We know that there is significant duplication in the federal government, and let me just give you some of the findings of the GAO report. And remember, this isn't Tom Coburn's report. This is a GAO report, and they only look at 1/3 of the federal government. The first third. They've got 2 more reports to come to us with the second third, and then yearly. Then we'll get this report yearly on the problems of duplication in the federal government. We have 47 job training programs across 9 different agencies that we spend $18 billion. Not one of them has a metric on it to see it's effective. We're doing a study right now in the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations on where are the reports, what are the people saying who've been through there, where is it helpful, where is it not, because in our legislation when we passed these job training programs, we didn't ask for metrics to see if they were effective. So there's one area where we could consolidate maybe 1 or 2. Only 3 of those have charges that are totally separate from the others. The rest of them overlap one another. There's 5 departments and 8 agencies, over 24 presidential nominees are overseeing bioterrorism. We know we can consolidate that. We'll actually be much better when we do in terms of our efficiency and our communication between agencies. That's $6.48 billion a year. We have 20 agencies, 56 programs dedicated to financial literacy, and we don't even know what they cost. The GAO couldn't determine what they cost. 56 different programs on financial literacy, and we're teaching the people that have a $1.6 trillion deficit, we're teaching Americans financial literacy. And if we should teach them that, which is not a bad goal, why do we need 56 programs to do that? We have 80 economic development programs across 4 different agencies. We're spending $6.5 billion. Just consolidating administrative costs across those could save us $100, $200, $300 million. We have 15 agencies for more than 30 food-related laws. We divide, even the president mentioned about salmon. If they're in salt water, they got one agency. If they're in fresh water, they got another agency. Well, that's foolish. Why duplicate the work of one agency with another? 18 nutrition programs, very important to our kids and those that are dependent on it, $62.5 billion. Do we need 18 programs to do that? Could we do it with 10, 8, 2, 3? The questions haven't been asked, but asking the OMB to look at the low-hanging fruit and to take the $5 billion out and work with Congress to get it done in the next appropriation cycle. 20 homeless programs, 7 agencies, $2.9 billion. 82 teacher quality programs, 16 agencies, and $4 billion. Why would we have 82 teacher training programs? It just shows you the magnitude of the problem that we have in terms of getting our budget under control, not managing things effectively, not doing the oversight that we should do. We have 52 programs for entrepreneurial efforts. I don't have any problem with that, but why do we need 52? 35 programs to oversee infrastructure. Overseeing infrastructure is important, but why do we need that many programs? 28 programs to oversee new markets, 28 different programs funded by the federal government across 6 different agencies to oversee new markets. We could consolidate a lot of that. So the president has said that he wants to do this. We ought to give him the tools that will help him do it more quickly, because every day we wait, it costs us more money. Finally, we will have a vote ultimately on the ethanol blenders credit, and I've been remiss to not give the #1 leader on that, who has a bill of her own, Senator Feinstein, credit, because she really has led on this for a long time. Her bill is slightly different than the one we're going to offer, but she really has led on that issue. She understands the importance of it, both the environmental impact of burning ethanol when we're actually burning more fuel and actually putting out more CO2 than what we would if we were burning pure gasoline because of the inefficiency of ethanol. So I wanted to recognize her, and then when we come to a vote on the ethanol blenders credit, I'll ask her to speak on that if she would. Finally, I would say in regards to that issue, for people who don't understand, we're going to spend $5 billion this year paying the major oil companies 45 cents a gallon to blend ethanol into the gasoline. There's a federal law that requires a mandate. It's called the Renewable Fuels Mandate that says last year was 12.5 billion gallons. This year it's 13.2. It's over 22 billion 5 years from now, gallons that have to be blended. We have a letter from the people who received this tax credit, who are going to receive this $5 billion, that say they don't want the $5 billion. They don't need the $5 billion. And yet we're going to have some resistance around here of not stopping a payment for something that's already mandated by law to those who receive it, who don't want it and have put it in a letter saying they don't want it. It's already in the record. Why would we continue to spend $5 billion of our kids' money on something they don't want, isn't going to change the outcome, and we won't have to borrow 40% of it to make the payment? To me, it's beyond me that we would not do that, and it's my hope that we will be successful in overturning that. With that, I yield the floor and note the absence of quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
Mr. President.
Senator from Colorado.
For the